Hi, welcome to Storm the Field. This is a show all about college football for the fans, by the fans. I'm Mathis. I'm joined here by Quentin, Trey, and Rob. Today is September 15th, 2022, as we are previewing week 3 of the college football season. We're just starting out as a channel, so it would help us out a lot if you like the video and subscribe to the channel. And we're going to go ahead and get into our games. We're going to start off with OU at Nebraska, BYU at Oregon, Miami at Texas A&M, Penn State at Auburn. Then we're going to get into our upset alert segment and finish off with our college football pick'em with the rest of our games. And so we are just going to go ahead, get right into it, to the Scott Frost game.
Man, I could
Trey?
take this one. I don't know about Nebraska. This is the toughest game so far this week or this year. They're playing the best team, probably that they'll play for a while, on their schedule. And with Scott Frost gone, it's kind of raising a lot of questions for me of the direction of Nebraska because they don't have a leader that you can look to and see where they want to be at. So I feel like if you're going to go into this game, which is a rivalry game, that was played pretty close last year without a real head coach, I feel like it's just going to be hard to win, especially at home. I see the only way that Nebraska is going to win this game this week is if Casey Thompson just plays out of his mind, which he played pretty decent last week, but it hasn't been great. And if their defense just steps up because OU's offense doesn't look like it's missed a step so far with the Lincoln Riley leaving. I really haven't watched much OU games, but they look good from the first two games that they played this year that I've seen on well, they're also playing bad teams, but they look good against bad teams. And Nebraska's a bad team, so I got OU winning this game.
I'm a little against you there. I don't think that OU has looked great, especially last week. They did not look very good. And get out of the way. I'm picking OU. I think it's a two-score game. I don't think it's 2 touchdowns though. I think that number sitting at -11 to OU is a good number. I think that over/under at 66 is a little high.
Yeah.
Casey Thompson has played OU before, but he's also lost to OU before. Uh, I think that he'll play well, and I think that Nebraska is going to have a little bit of a resurgence now that all the pressure's off them. All the, is Scott Frost going to get fired is done. He's gone. So there's nothing left to lose. And one scary thing is a team that has nothing to lose. And so I'd keep my eye out for this game, but I'm not going out on a limb to pick Nebraska, especially after what they've showed us the last 3 weeks. Rob or Quentin, go ahead.
Got this, like Trey said, this is the first game after the Scott Frost firing. OU has won 6 out of the last 7 games. There was about a 10 or 11 year gap in it, but that doesn't matter to diehard fans of Nebraska and OU. Even though there was a big gap, they look at Nebraska hasn't won since 2009. So last year, a prominent head football coach got fired, Patterson with TCU, and what they do the following week? They beat Baylor with an interim coach. The odds say that Nebraska is going to win. The motivation. No, the odds of ending the streak. The odds of with motivation. The motivation factor is on Nebraska's side. And I will say this, if OU struggles in the first half and it's a tight game going into the third quarter, I think Nebraska's got a great chance to win this game. Do I think that will happen? No. I think OU is going to tear them up in the first half. I see them going away and Nebraska making it close at the end, 31-17. I think OU, I don't think, Mathis, you're right. OU is not playing great. They haven't played anybody really yet. But I don't, everything tells me Nebraska should win this game for all those reasons I mentioned. But Nebraska is just bit.
Please pick Nebraska. I need to pick up a game on you.
I'm going with OU, 31-17.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
If this is not my upset pick of the week, but if I had to put money on a game that was an upset, this would be the one as far as Vegas odds.
Yeah, I would not be surprised. I think that covering the spread is actually pretty likely. I think a 9-point game, 6-point game could be real. It just comes down to who do you trust more. I think OU has especially after what Nebraska's done so far, is they have a chance to come in sleeping. I'm sorry, Quentin, I didn't let you talk. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. But I'm also going to pick OU. But I'm also not going to act like Nebraska doesn't have a bunch of freak athletes on their roster. And the whole roster's pissed off. They don't like OU. Casey Thompson doesn't like OU. The whole coaching staff does not like OU. No one likes OU because everyone hates OU.
Because OU sucks.
I don't know. I'm going to pick Nebraska to cover the spread. I think it's probably going to be like a touchdown game, 7 to 10 points. But I don't know. I think that a bunch of pissed off freak athletes is something that OU is not going to want to see. OU is going to be on their – I think if Nebraska comes out hot, OU could be on their heels because they've played absolutely no one in these last 2 weeks. Nebraska has lost to bad teams, so that also pisses them off. They did not like Scott Frost. I think that was pretty apparent by the play on the field and just the talk in the locker room. So I don't know. I think that this could be a very interesting game. But I'm still gonna pick OU. But I think it's definitely gonna be an interesting game.
Yeah, everyone thinks this can be interesting, but no one is willing to pick Nebraska. I think. And hey, had you just picked up that Georgia Southern game, I think there's a good chance that I might have picked Nebraska in this game.
Yeah.
But because they have the talent.
We all want Nebraska. We all want Nebraska, but it hurts to say, but looks like we're all going with OU.
Yeah, none of us have the balls to actually go out on that limb. Yeah, I think that, like I said last episode, I think Scott Frost getting fired is the best thing for both of those programs, for both Scott Frost and Nebraska. And I think that both are going to be better for it. Maybe Scott Frost goes to they're in need of an offensive coordinator. Maybe he'll make his way to Bama. Maybe he'll end up going to Bama and go to the Nick Saban coach rehabilitation center. Yep. Yeah. Sorry, I'm struggling with my words.
He's on his Ed Orgeron right now. Yep. He's just sitting at home doing nothing. He got paid $17 million or something, some crazy number like that.
Yep. All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on to our second game, our second headliner, and that is gonna be the BYU Cougars, who somehow are plus 3.5 against Oregon. The over/under for this game is 58 points. Who did I say starting off this one? Is it Rob?
Me.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So BYU is 2-0 with a double overtime win against Baylor. Oregon is 1-1, and we all know where that one loss came in week one. Both offenses are pretty good. I think Oregon showed last week that they can put up some numbers. Unfortunately for them, they had to play Georgia in the first week. Interesting stat about BYU, they played 5 Pac-12 games last year, and they went 5-0. And they played 2 this year. Oregon is hoping to break that streak. BYU is for the second straight week without both of their top receivers. However, the difference this week is they're on the road instead of being at home, which was a big advantage to them, especially when they went into overtime. I think Oregon overall is a better team, even though their record doesn't show it and they're beating down by Georgia. I think Oregon is going to pull away and win this game 41-24.
Yeah, I could probably also agree that Oregon. I think it's gonna be a really tight game the whole time. I think Dan Lanning just really, really needs a win over there, a big win. So I'd probably pick Oregon too, but just like barely. They're at home. They probably have more athletes on the roster. I would assume. I don't know. I think that I think that they really love Dan Lanning. I think they're pulling for him. So that's kind of why I'm just picking Oregon. I think it's really a toss-up, though.
like BYU this year. I feel like they could be. They're the team that has the best odds of a non-SEC, non-Big Ten team to make the playoff this year, in my opinion. I mean, losing your top 2 wide receivers is going to be a struggle, just trying to move the ball down the field. But against a good Baylor team last week, they held that off and played relatively good for losing their top 2 guys. Oregon looked bad against Georgia their first week, but that's expected with Georgia being the best team in the nation, in my opinion. And I feel like they bounced back fine last week, scoring 70 points on Eastern Washington. So I feel like this is going to be a really good game. I feel like it's going to be a close game, but I feel like BYU could squeak it out by a field goal or a touchdown.
Our first different.
All right. So as some of you know last week, if you missed our reaction episode, I picked BYU over Baylor last week because of a lot of things that y'all mentioned. They're missing 2 of their receivers. They're not in a conference, so it's kind of hard to scale a team like that. But I switched it because of those receivers, and I just didn't think they were going to have the explosiveness. And Oregon is a really good team. They play hard, and they can put up a lot of points on a bad defense. And all that to say,
they're at home.
All of that to say, give me BYU because I am not betting against Jaron Hall 2 weeks in a row. That dude is a dog, and they are going to win a gutsy game. BYU has a really good chance. If they beat up on Notre Dame and then win out or maybe lose 1 game because you have a tough enough schedule, you can afford to drop 1 game and still possibly be a playoff team. This team is the real deal. I know y'all didn't watch the game because it was late, but that was a gutsy win, and they should have won in regulation.
I like those Mormons.
You said out of all the independents, they probably have the best chance. Does anyone have a chance at all now that Notre Dame is 0-2 besides BYU?
I mean, it's Notre Dame. Somehow Notre Dame could find it.
Yeah, UConn.
I would say the Notre Dame could still possibly find its way into the CFP given their track history.
Hey, you know what? I'll go out on a limb.
I'm just saying, given their track history.
Hey, a 1-loss BYU, I think, has a better chance of making it than a 1-loss Pac-12 champion.
I don't.
Yeah, especially, it depends. I feel like it depends on the team. If it's USC, I don't think that.
If it's USC or Utah, they're gonna get in.
That's a good point, Mathis. If a 1-loss team, Oregon, wins the Pac-12, but BYU goes 11-1 and beat Oregon, then yeah, I agree. BYU's in.
I think BYU's really good. But I think they should be in the top 10 right now. I think they're that good. I think they're better than Kentucky.
For me, there's just so many other things.
Hey,
yeah, there's so many variables that you have to look at.
Do you know who they play? They play Arkansas. Arkansas easily could go number 2 in the West. They could win the West. They get Bama at home. If they beat the SEC West champion, then I think that, and they go 1 loss, or maybe that Arkansas game is the only loss, and Arkansas somehow wins the SEC or goes to the SEC championship, then BYU could be in the playoff. I think they're that talented.
I don't know. I don't think
it's all very premature after 2 weeks, but I'd say at this point, yeah, you got to keep your eye on BYU.
Yeah, I would not want to see them on my schedule.
No, there's no way. Their schedule's way too tough. I think it's just way too tough. I don't think that they're gonna.
For them to go 11-1.
They're gonna drop 2. I feel like they're just gonna drop 2, and that's still a really good season.
I'm not
hating on BYU at all. But there's just a lot of the rosters they play are just way more talented than them.
Hey,
I think in the Pac-12 they're only playing Oregon and I think either Washington or Washington State. Stanford. Okay.
Hey,
so
watch out for BYU when they come to the Big 12. Because they're doing all that, and they're going to be getting more money with that TV contract than what they have now. So they're going to only be able to invest more, and that's a bought-in fan base. It's a national fan base, and I think that BYU has a great future ahead of them. All right, we're going to get in to Rob's Aggies. I'm going to start us off with this one. We're going to go ahead. Over-under is 44, and A&M, who is the lower-ranked team, is favored by almost a touchdown. It's 6 points, so I guess it is a touchdown, just not the extra point. So they think that, I guess they're pretty confident with A&M at home that they're going to be able to bounce back. And obviously they have the more experienced coach because Jimbo's been along a lot longer than Cristobal. And Miami doesn't have a whole lot of great receivers. I think Texas A&M has the overall better roster. But do you know what Texas A&M does not have? The better quarterback. Tyler Van Dyke is better than anyone on A&M's roster, and that is something to be scared about. But good teams usually bounce back after a disappointing loss. And so give me Texas A&M. But Rob, if I'm wrong, then I will not stick my neck out for A&M again this season. There's a good chance I pick against them in half of the SEC play. Because I think if you lose this game, you probably lose to Arkansas on the road, and then you go to Mississippi State, who looks good, and after that you go to Bama. This team could go bad fast. And so
let me follow that up by saying A&M's loss last week is a potentially program-changing loss. For the first time since Jimbo's reign, I started hearing a lot of criticism about his coaching style. I even heard someone say, hey, his buyout, $75 million right now, after Scott Frost got, 15 or 7.5?
15.
I think it was 15.
Yeah.
15.
Hey, so the reason A&M is why I'm picking them is because they need it.
Yeah. Well, and I, of course, am biased, but I've got no excuse for what they did last week. That was pathetic. It was unexcusable. We had better players at every position. I think I heard one stat of 4 and 5 stars. A&M, I think, was in the 40s, and App State only had 1. And that's, clearly have the better athlete, but they did not have the better team. So my prediction is Haynes King will start, but I'm not going to say he's not going to finish. I will say Max Johnson is going to get some playing time in this game. It's either going to be because it's time for him to get some snaps, or because Haynes King is he's not improving week to week. So I pick A&M to win. I don't think they're going to cover the spread, or actually I think they're going to tie it. 27-21 is what I see, but Max Johnson will get some playing time, and this might be what the team needs overall heading into SEC play, with Max Johnson maybe taking the reins and starting the SEC games, the schedule, as the starting quarterback.
I agree with Mathis. I feel like if I do choose A&M this game and they lose this game, I just can't be comfortable and confident choosing them in future games. I feel like this is a must-win for A&M, especially with having that bad loss last week. And I just don't see why Haynes King keeps getting the benefit of the doubt and keeps getting the start. I feel like Max Johnson, he didn't have an amazing season last year, but it was definitely looked better than the 2 games that Haynes King has played this year. I like Max Johnson more than Haynes King, and I feel like if you start him, they're more successful, but I'm not A&M's head coach, so I really can't choose that. A&M has a great defense, and Miami's going to be without their top receiver this week. So I feel like they could capitalize off of that. And I like Miami, though. Like Mathis said earlier, their quarterback is going to be the best player on the field, and I feel like he can make something happen even without having his top receiver. And I feel like this is going to be a close game, but I feel like A&M is going to pull it out at home this week.
Quentin?
I don't usually pick against the same team twice, 2 weeks in a row. I'm not going to start now. I'm going to go with A&M. I think that. I think at this point you got to give Max Johnson some reps in game. You got to just see, because Haynes King has been terrible. Like, I'm not going to pretend that he's had any. He's had shine. Like, he's had moments where he looks good. Like, literally singular plays where I think that he looks good. But I think that you need to see what your other guy looks like, because
Yeah.
I don't know, if they don't turn it around and they lose this one, then like we've been saying, there's just a lot of questions for the rest of the year.
Calzada played 10 games last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he have any worse of a back-to-back game than Haynes King has had so far this year?
I don't think so.
I just looked up Haynes King's total QBR on the season, and he's sitting at 33, which is the worst amongst any SEC quarterback.
Rob,
so
I don't.
No two game stretch last year did Calzada have a worse 2 games than Haynes King has, and he's going up against non-conference group of 5 team.
FCS too.
Yeah, we were at the game week 1 against Sam Houston State, and we didn't think that he looked great. I mean, granted, we were only there for one half, but the only reason they were able to score any points is because they took the top off the defense on a few occasions. And it's because they just out-talented him at the receiver position. Because you have guys with speed, and you guys have guys who are electric players. Now, Jimbo's offense and Jimbo's quarterback just need to be able to get the ball into the open, need to get the ball to their playmakers in the open field, and I think you win this game. But Rob, before we move on to the next, I have a Haynes King versus Quinn Ewers comparison for you.
Oh yeah, I already know what you're about to pull up.
So Haynes King, his opponent last week was Appalachian State, and his completion was 13 for 20. And then his yards were 97, double-digit yards in a game, 4 quarters played. Quinn Ewers, his opponent was Bama, who at that time was the number 1 ranked team in the country. He went 9 for 12, so only 4 less completions on 8 less attempts, and threw for 134 yards. And he did all of that in 1 quarter.
Hey, the only thing I have to say about that, who's going to be suiting up this week?
I don't know. After last week, I would not be surprised if Max Johnson doesn't either.
Well,
all right.
Okay, I have one more thing to say.
And I might add, not for the right reason.
Yeah.
You know, granted, Ewers is injured, is out 4 to 6 weeks, and Haynes King is, as we know of today, is still the starter. So
you want to
that was a little jab at Haynes King.
Hey,
I gave right there.
Hey, do you want to something that's gonna make you feel sick to your stomach?
Not really.
When Ohio
State, you do remember I'm recovering from surgery.
Okay. Hey,
my ass already hurts.
Hey, so when Quinn decided to transfer, on his short list was A&M. And Jimbo Fisher decided not even to pursue him because they felt like they had better quarterbacks on their roster.
And they probably do. Max Johnson.
Well, why isn't he playing then?
Yeah, I don't know the logic on that.
Hey,
Jimbo's the coach.
Things could go really bad if Max Johnson is worse than Haynes King.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that could be bad. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on. This is our tiebreaker game.
Quentin had one more thing to add.
Oh, Quentin, go.
Yeah, I think that the A&M defense, they did not, the week before Appalachian State put up 61 points. So I'm not going to act like A&M's defense are just a bunch of bums. And Miami's offense has not moved the ball up and down the field very well. So that's just another reason why I think that A&M can probably win the game. Yeah,
A&M, they only gave up 17 points when Appalachian State's offense, they were on the field for 41 minutes, I think. It was either 38 or 41. Yeah. And so that's not bad for defense. They were just gassed because they couldn't get off the field.
Yeah.
We're going to go ahead and move on.
That's a good point.
We're going to move on to our tiebreaker game. And what I mean by tiebreaker is we have a college football pick'em. We do it through the CBS app. I don't know if it's too late for y'all to start already, but we're in a pool of the 4 of us plus 1 other person. And what we pretty much do is you can either pick against the spread or just in general. We think it's more fun to just pick in general, especially when it comes to once we get into conference play, when the games are going to be closer. And then you don't get a game wrong because a team lost by 3 and not 5. So we just went ahead and we did our straight-up picks. But the tiebreaker, in case we end up picking all the same games or if we end up getting tied, then our tiebreaker is by points. And so everyone, you're going to give me a final score for this game, but then you're also going to give me the total points. So add those together, and that is how we figure out our tiebreaker. And so the game that we're doing this week as our tiebreaker is Penn State at Auburn. At Jordan-Hare, Penn State is favored by 3 points, and the over-under for this game is 47.5. And so, Quentin, lead us off.
Auburn has not looked good on offense. They have not looked good on defense. Penn State has looked okay on both sides of the ball. But I'm going with Auburn, okay? Something about that stadium and something about that crowd is just different. It's a big game. Crowd's going to show out. They always have crowd support. I think that Auburn wins this game 27-25 with a total points of 52. I'm hitting the over, and I think that it's going to be a really close game. I think that crowd is going to win the game for Auburn. I think that, I don't know, frisky team, as what I might say. Very frisky team.
Like Quentin said, Penn State has looked okay on both sides of the ball. Auburn hasn't. Penn State, though, plays in stadiums the size of Jordan-Hare, so I don't think it's going to be anything new to them. But with that being said, give me Auburn. This is going to be an upset for me. This is going to be one of the games that I have picked as an upset. I have it being a close game just because I don't think the ball is going to get moved up and down the field very much. And I have the total score being 28-21 with the over-under at 49.
Well, if Penn State wins, they've been moving up the poll slowly. They'll be 3-0 with 2 wins in the early season against Power 5 teams. If Auburn wins, and they'll likely win next week against Missouri, they'll be 4-0 before they hit the meat of their SEC schedule, where they play in order LSU, Georgia, Ole Miss, Arkansas, Mississippi State, and then A&M. They could go from 4-0 to 4-6 in a drop of the hat. Yeah. I think even with a win now, and I forget their head coach's name, but I know he's got a lot of problems with the boosters and with administration. I'm not even sure 7-5 wins keeps his job, but I pick Auburn. I think Penn State is very good. I think Auburn has a lot of vengeance from last year's. They feel like the game was stolen from them up in Penn State. I pick Auburn 24-21 for a total of 45 points.
Man, I might change my pick now.
Rob?
Making me feel too confident.
I'm going to show you my little sheet. I know it's going to be backwards for the viewers, but here is my sheet for this game, and this is why I want to go last. You see that empty box? That's where I was going to put my thing. I did, however, fill out that empty box, which says 45, because, Rob, I have the score of 21-24. I purposely, because I feel more confident about the score. I feel more confident about the score than I do the winner of this game. And for all the reasons you mentioned, I agree. And I think that Auburn easily could take away this game. However, right above this, I gave a pros and cons for each team. And I decided not to make my pick because it's a coin flip for me. And so what I decided to make my pick, it's a little strat, little game theory. Give me Penn State. This is an on-air pick because I did not do anything before on this game. And so give me Penn State. And that...
Matt, let me ask you this. You and I picked the same points. So if we end up with the same record and we have the same points, I think it's got to come down to this game.
Yeah.
If Penn State wins, you win. If Auburn wins, I win.
Yep.
Okay.
That's assuming y'all beat me.
And well, Trey, and my heart goes out to you. You're if we're gonna tie, you have to get either 47, 48, or 49. 50 is a split between you and actually 48 and 49 are the only ones that are good for you. 48, 49, and 50. So you got
confidence is key. I'm not worried about it. I'm confident in that little window.
Hey, Rob.
Well, if you're confident, it won't come down to the tiebreaker.
Rob,
Hey.
I will say.
I'm saying if it does.
I decided to take a gamble. I picked BYU. You picked Oregon. And I picked Penn State, and you picked Auburn. And so we could either split those, and it can be a wash and just depend on this game.
Yeah.
But if not, I could go down 2. Or you could go down 2. And so I'd rather lose swinging than play it safe and pick the same as everyone else. Because
we all picked OU. We all picked A&M. We all picked Auburn except for you. And
we split on BYU
Oregon. We split 2-2.
Yeah.
Y'all just want to be like me so bad. You and Trey picking
Quentin. I went first on the OU game, and I like Auburn. I don't like Auburn. I'm lying. I don't know. It's something about it.
Trey, you literally said.
I said like Quentin.
Quentin,
because you went first. Nah, you just went first. If I had said that, I would have said the same thing to you.
Quentin, you and I picked the same. I'm 1 different from Trey and 2 different from Mathis. So, Trey, you and I cannot tie. And Mathis, we could tie, or one of us could be up by 2 this week.
Well, Rob, me and you are clearly the superior minds.
Well, I don't know if that has to do with age. Is that due to age or good looks? I don't know.
Hey, and I'm not going to be mad if Penn State loses to Auburn. I'm mainly picking against that because it's a toss-up. If I would not bet any money on this game. I would bet a Dr. Squatch, but I just don't.
It's a 2:30 game, and to me, I think this one should really be a 7 o'clock game.
I think everything is on the money in terms of the over/under and the point spread, because I would not want to touch this with a 3-point poll because I think this is exactly where this game lies, is within 2.5 points of that over/under. It's scary. I just don't trust Auburn at quarterback. I trust Penn State slightly more at quarterback. I guess we're just going to have to see if Penn State's offense can get the run game established, and we'll see if Auburn can get any movement on the offense, which is why I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I personally think that there could be some defensive touchdowns or special teams points, and so that's why I had it as a 21-24. But I would not be surprised if this game goes under that. I think it's going to be a punt fest.
The over-under, is 47.5, so really three of us are right there within a field goal of the Vegas over-under.
Yeah. Hey, one last thing to note. One last thing to note. On the late kick, I don't know if this is 100% true, but I think at Penn State, James Franklin is 19-18 on the road.
So basically, it's 50-50.
Yeah.
Also, he may or may not be the most overrated coach in the nation.
Maybe.
Agreed.
All right. Well, we already did our little recap of who picked what. We're going to go ahead and move on to what has easily become my favorite segment. Upset alert.
Fan favorite. It's a fan favorite.
Fan favorite. We got our upset alert segment. And so
I like to go first in this one.
Yeah, we're going to go in the order of how we did last week in the pick'em. Quentin starts off first, though, because even though he ended up with the worst record, he was almost a prophet with how he was able to describe that Texas game and that A&M game. And so, Quentin, you're going to start us off. Go ahead with your first upset alert game.
Man, I hate to say this, but the Longhorns.
Yeah, I had that there too.
Yeah, I did too.
Are an upset alert. It's sad. It hurts my heart. So many injuries. That's what you get. That's what happens when you play Alabama.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're a dirty team.
No,
they have to. They have to hurt Texas's quarterback to win.
They paid the refs.
But it's just like we've seen this story happen before. We saw 2019. They played LSU to 7 points, and the rest of the year they were average at best.
Quentin, can I stop you? So far, I have this game on there, and I also have 5 bullet points. And so far, you've hit 4 of them. So let's see if you can get my last bullet point.
Wait, so which ones I hit LSU?
No. We've
seen this before.
We've seen this.
Yeah, 2005.
Injuries. Just tell me what are the other two?
No, you're only missing one. Everything you said has been on my list so far. There's only 1 point left, and so just say what you're gonna say, and I'll let you know if you got it. If not, I'll add it on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Sark is kind of an unpredictable coach. I think that he's doing better this year than he did last year. I'm not going to be overly confident with the Alabama game because I feel like Texas does this to me all the time. They're just like, oh, we're back, but actually we still suck. So I don't want to pick Texas. I mean I'm still probably gonna pick Texas in the game, but I think there's definitely a possibility. I mean, Bijan is banged up, Hudson Card is banged up, Quinn Ewers is out. They have a lot of just a lot of injuries all around, and UTSA is a good football team. They play Houston to overtime, and Houston is a pretty good football team too. They nearly beat Tech last week. I don't know. I think that this is definitely a losable game for Texas, but I think if they play the right way and they play there, and Sark still calls his offense and still is confident in Card if he plays, I think that Texas can still definitely win this pretty comfortably.
Guys, this game wasn't on my radar at all, but let me add this. If this is not a true fact, it should be. Texas could win and win playing bad. They could be the first team in history to move up in the polls with a loss and move down in the polls with a win in successive weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that in the polls, if they do win bad and they win but they play bad, I think they might not move because it could be attributed to injuries. And so I don't think they'd move them.
But injuries play into how people see teams being ranked.
Yeah, I know, but I still think that even though they knew that Quinn Ewers was hurt and they still moved him up to 21, you already factored in the injuries.
But they didn't know that Card was seriously hurt at the time, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know. Quentin, you missed 1 point. I said they might be too comfortable, and you alluded to it, but...
He said too confident.
Yeah. So I guess, Quentin, you went all for it. You got the Charles Wright, QB's hurt, UTSA good, Bijan's hurt, and you started the whole thing off with my first bullet point, which is hate to say it. And so, Quentin, you literally banged everything on
it's almost
right
like
on the
y'all
nail.
are brothers.
Quinn's a psychic.
Yeah, I guess he is. All right, Rob, you're next. Pick a game that is your pick 'em.
This was tough for me. I had 3 games that I had to choose from. I decided to not pick one team because it would mean Notre Dame would go 0-3, and I just don't think that's going to happen.
No.
Never say never.
I couldn't pick my other game because that had Kansas going 3-0, and that would hurt Trey in beating Houston. So my choice came down to Northern Illinois beating Vanderbilt at home. That's my upset pick of the week.
Stop it, Rob. You know why?
Anchor down.
Pick a different game. Do you know why? It's not an upset.
What?
NIU is favored.
No, they're not.
NIU minus 2.5.
Vandy is a 2.5 point favorite.
Last time I checked, it was NIU minus 2.5.
No.
Do you want to bet a squatch on it?
Well, let me check my computer first.
My analytics.
Uh-oh, Rob. I'm looking at it right here, and it says NIU minus 2.5.
Holy moly. Well, they did a 5-point swing in an afternoon. Okay.
All right. No, that's actually not true because I looked at it last night when I wrote this number down.
Trey, I hate to do this. I just think...
No, I was going to choose the game too.
Kansas going 3-0 is a
3-0. Rock
baby. Notre Dame going 0-3.
Rock
not going to happen.
Baby.
I have
shock.
Kansas over Houston.
Rock shot, baby.
Hey, Hurston gonna be hurting, Trey.
Hey, they look terrible this year.
All right,
so
Rob.
I can't even.
Hey, Rob, since you were wrong, here's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna give my upset. Give me Vandy straight up.
What?
Yeah. Vandy.
That's an upset?
Yeah.
That's not an upset if they're favored by 2.5.
If
NIU is favored.
If NIU is favored by 2.5, then Vandy is the upset.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
I got you.
Give me the lock. You know why? Do you know why they do this, Rob? Do you know why this is the anchor down?
Anchor down.
Do you know why this is anchor down? 1, 2, 3. That's how many wins they're getting this year, baby.
Yeah.
Anchor down. That over. Hey, you see that? Look at this over here. See that lock? It's a lock, baby. I'm telling you, Vandy's going to win this game. And, Rob, you're never going to hear the end of it. It's going to really suck for you when you have to buy me a Mike Wright Vandy jersey. And I'm going to wear it every episode. All right. Trey, you want to give me... Has everyone given their upset already?
Not me.
All right, Trey.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. Notre Dame is going to be 0-3 this year. I have them going 0-3. They're losing against Cal this week.
Is Notre Dame favored?
I think so.
By 11.
I'm
serious?
drinking the Kool-Aid. They're going 0-3 this year. I have them losing to Cal at home, I think.
Yeah.
I could be wrong with it. I have them losing at home, especially with the way they played last week. It was a terrible game, and I like seeing Notre Dame fail.
Hey, I can't. I'm looking at the top 25 games. Why can't I find Notre Dame on there?
Because they suck, and it's always a great day when Notre Dame is not ranked. It is an amazing day for this. Last Saturday was amazing for me too, and I'm gonna have another good Saturday this week with Notre Dame losing to Cal.
All right. Does anyone else have any other games? I have I have 2
y'all
written
know why
down.
this Saturday is going to be extra special?
Because Notre Dame's gonna lose, and Rock Chalk, Kansas is beating Houston at home.
Because the Odie patio is getting new furniture.
This weekend?
Yup.
It's coming tomorrow.
Hey!
Yup.
Yeah, I have one more game. I'm just gonna slide
Okay.
under the table. Texas Tech at NC State. Keep it on your mind.
That could be dangerous.
Not picking it.
What's the line?
Keep it on your mind. And
Is it minus 10?
-10.5.
Okay.
-10 over under 56. NC State's offense has looked terrible. So I'm not gonna pick it, but just keep it on your brain. Think about this. Think about me sliding this underneath the table whenever Texas Tech wins. Maybe, probably not, but maybe.
What is Texas favored by?
Texas
12
is
and a half.
12.5.
12.5.
So we got Trey, Cal over Notre Dame.
Yup.
Who's 11-point favorite. Rob has Kansas over Houston, who's a 9-point favorite. Quentin has UTSA over Texas, who's a 12.5-point favorite. Mathis has Vandy over Northern Illinois, who is a 2.5-point favorite. All of our winning teams are road teams.
Hey, can I give you one more game? I want to know what y'all think about this one. What do y'all have for Michigan State versus Washington?
Oh, I have Michigan State, but I don't really think it's
State. I'm
not really gonna call that an upset.
I know it's listed as an upset, but I don't know. I just don't know much about Washington. It's but I think Michigan State's a good team, and so I'm just gonna go ahead and pick that. Technically, it's an upset because they're it's plus 3.5. Washington is favored by 3.5, and it's at Husky Stadium in Washington.
And Michigan State, by all reason, is a top 10 team. I mean, they're ranked 11, but that's kind of unusual.
Yeah, I know. I just think
a dog on the road.
Yeah, I would almost think, hey, this is a game to watch out for if Michigan State was
Yeah.
favored, because I think Washington has a good chance of winning. I think they're a good team. I think with they completely new coach, new offensive coordinator, new quarterback. I think their offense is moving pretty well. They're running the offense well. And so I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that I would maybe list this game as an upset if Michigan State was favored. I think that the odds makers might have just jumped the gun on this by going out of their way to say that Washington should be favored in this game. But I would still slightly lean Michigan State. It's not a game that I'd stick my neck out for because I really just don't know enough about a lot of the mid-level teams in the Pac-12. Just some of the few.
Washington has a little grudge against the Big Ten too, getting snuffed out of the transfer. So I'm not going to say that played into the odds makers' opinion, but I could definitely see it have an impact on the game.
Yeah, I think it's a really important game for both teams to get where they want to go, record-wise by the end of the year.
It's a big Power 5 win for sure.
Yeah, and two other games I listed just because they're against the spread is I have BYU, and I'm just picking them outright, just in general. But then Texas A&M, if they look like they looked last week, I think Miami wins. Because
I think you and I had almost every game upset game this week as the same.
Great minds think alike.
I think
or we both suck.
South Carolina will cover.
Okay.
South Carolina is going to cover. I don't think it's gonna be an upset, but I think they're going to cover.
I think that might be fair to say, or they don't even score.
Or they're not going to score at all. They're either going to cover or they're not going to score at all. But
yeah, I think their passing attack looked pretty good. Spencer Rattler's putting up good numbers. They just can't protect him. And so I think it really depends on if Georgia sends the kitchen sink after him.
They're not going to cover. No, I take it back.
I'll get to another upset. I picked them straight up to win, but I got Louisville at home over Florida State, who Florida State is the favorite. I think Louisville, after they had that horrible game against Syracuse, but then came back and played real well last week.
Against UCF?
I don't think they're going to lose to FSU.
All right, hey, we're gonna go ahead and move on. We want to save some games for this last section. We're gonna go ahead and just get into the rest of our pick'em. We're not gonna pick every game. I'm just gonna say a team, and y'all are gonna, and I'll see if I can find the spread on these games, and you're just gonna tell me what you think.
Hold on, let me pull up my pick'em. All right, we're good.
All right, Florida State, Louisville. I got Florida State.
I have Louisville. I'm gonna go Louisville.
Louisville? Okay, so I'm sticking my neck out on that one.
Wait, Florida State?
No, never mind. I'm going Florida State. I had to flip.
Oh,
I hate that. I hate that.
That's so cool. All right.
No, it's not.
Oh, this is an interesting one. Syracuse, Purdue. Who do y'all have?
Purdue.
Boilermakers.
I did too. Okay, this is a tough one. Baylor or Texas State?
Baylor.
I don't know. They're pretty much the same. They're both 1-1, but I'm going with Baylor.
I'm going to go Baylor. But, hey, I might clip that and say, oh, this is a tough one if Texas State somehow pulls up the upset. Oklahoma, Nebraska, we already talked about that. 0-2 Notre Dame against Cal. Who do y'all have?
You already know who I have, baby.
Trey, did you pick that?
Yes, I did.
I actually picked Notre Dame.
I did too. Hey, hey, but if he starts out 0-4, like overall, because he lost the bowl game against Oklahoma State last year, do you think he could be on the hot seat?
Let me tell you this. Absolutely. I heard a lot of talk about Notre Dame this week. There are a lot of experts out there that question whether they're going to be bowl eligible this year.
Yeah, I don't know. They're good.
Not.
They might not be very good.
They're 0-2. they would have. I mean, they'd have to go 6-4 out, and I think 6 or 7 of those games are going to be tough.
Yeah.
And the way they played so far,
All right,
I could see them easily losing half of those tough games. So
we're gonna go ahead and move on.
At 5, 6, maybe 7 losses.
We need to keep the train moving if we want this. I guess the over already hit on the episode. The episode length was supposed to be 45 minutes, and we're at 50. Vandy at NIU.
Vandy, baby, anchor
Vandy.
down.
Rob, who did you take? Did you take NIU?
I've got Vanderbilt.
Okay, Quentin. That's right, baby. All right, Rock Chalk or Houston? I got Kansas.
Rock Chalk.
I got Kansas in
Rock
this
Chalk
game.
Jayhawk.
I've got Kansas.
Yeah, I don't think the road's going to be an issue for them because they've already played a road game and they beat West Virginia at home or on the road.
Beat though.
And I think that Kansas is good, and I think Washington showed themselves to be very vulnerable right now. Mississippi State LSU. I'm surprised we didn't headline this game.
Who?
Mississippi State
The
at
Bayou
LSU.
Schools.
Oh, which
Mississippi
game?
State.
Which game?
Mississippi
Mississippi
State
State,
at
LSU.
LSU.
I changed my mind. Mississippi State LSU is not looking too hot right now.
Yeah, LSU's at home though. I think it's going to be close, but Brian Kelly's not. He's not going to lose to Mississippi State at home. This is his first SEC game, is it not?
It is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I don't see him losing this game. If he loses this game,
Are we taking Kansas or Houston? Everyone pick Kansas.
Rock Chalk Jayhawk.
Matt, did you pick
Yeah.
Kansas?
Yeah, I picked Kansas.
Y'all pick down the CBS?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'll change it then. I'm not losing a game.
I don't know. I kind of just want to go with odds makers on this because I don't know what to think about LSU because we don't know how good Florida State is, and I think that
Hey, you didn't pick... That's not in the pick 'em. So you might want to just put it there.
what is.
Mississippi State LSU.
I'm looking at it
yeah,
right
it
now.
is.
It is. Pick 'em.
It is?
Yeah,
Where?
Mississippi State is a
It's under
2.5
Wake
point
Forest.
favorite. Mississippi State is a 2.5 point favorite.
I might
Where is
have to
it?
call that a game time decision.
Yeah, I might switch that one game time. Right now, I have it set as Mississippi State. I just think that their receivers and their passing attack might be a little too much for LSU's DBs, but this is not really a game I have enough confidence in to either pick up or drop. I might just go with the crowd, so I guess we'll talk about it. It's a 5 o'clock Central Time game, and so I'll just make sure to have that pick changed to whatever I think it will be before game time. We already talked about Tech at NC State. I think we all picked NC State. And do we all have Michigan State over Washington?
Yes.
Okay. And
I think we got a lot of good games this week, guys, but I think the season's going to get very interesting starting next week.
yeah.
I can't wait till week 6.
Yeah, that's
That's
all
gonna
we
be the
have
best
for y'all
week this
tonight. Just to recap our headline pick'em, we have BYU or we OU Nebraska, BYU Oregon, Miami Texas A&M, and Penn State at Auburn. So Rob, go ahead and give me your games on those.
I've got OU, Oregon, A&M, and Auburn.
Ditto.
Quentin or Trey?
OU, BYU, A&M, Auburn.
I have OU, BYU, A&M, Penn State. And so I guess we'll see if that was a risk that I should have taken or not. But it's all in good fun. If I end up losing by 2, then oh well. I'm more excited to watch the games than actually care if I'm right or not. I just want to be entertained, and that's all that really matters to me. And so that's all we have. Next Monday, we're going to be talking about our reactions and recap of the games, and we're going to talk about how we did in these 4 games specifically, and then the rest of our pick'em. And you will see who will have picked up a squatch on on who this week. And so that's everything. Thank you for watching. We'd really appreciate it.
Remind us. Tell us about the leaderboard on the Squatch.
I don't have information on that.
I heard.
Hey, well, that's all the time we have for you.
Over the young three whippersnappers.
Technically, you had 3 games you didn't pick, and I gave them to you as a blessing because you had surgery. So you're welcome, Rob. This is actually all we have for you. You can follow us on any of our social medias above. Send us an email if you like and subscribe. If you have any comments or questions, then we'd really appreciate it. If we'd love to get a Q&A going. So if y'all have any questions, we'd love to answer. Any games you want us to cover, we'd love to. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.